We got Carrying the Culture, episode 96. I said 97 earlier, but it's episode 96. Tone Spliff, Utica, New York, in the motherfucking building. So we're gonna get into it, yo. So thank you very much for joining us, man. I appreciate it. It's kind of overdue. So thank you.
Thank you. Honored to be here. Thank you, brother.
Nah, it's a pleasure's all mine, and we're gonna jump into a lot of shit before we get into it. Got a few ground rules for anybody jumping in. Please use the questions feature to ask any questions to either one of us about anything, and try to keep it relevant to what we're talking about. And don't get crazy in here, or I'll block you. So just you know what I'm saying, kind of roll with the flow of the show, please. So it's always dope to have a live, but sometimes it's a challenge too. So yeah, man. So let's get into it. Like it's cool because I don't know. I like these types of interviews. Like I like interviewing everybody, but like I don't know a lot about you. So I always try to do research and dig. I saw a couple of little short clips. I think it was a B-Shine joint and a couple of things. But so it's fun because I get to genuinely like ask just questions. I have no clue. I mean, like maybe you said it somewhere else, but I don't know. So it's always fun for me. And first of all, I want to just share like to everybody that's in here, like I heard about you like a few years ago, like maybe like 2016, 2017. I just started seeing cuts by Tone Spliff every fucking where. Cuts by Tone Spliff, cuts by Tone Spliff, cuts. I'm like, okay, I'm like, this guy's cutting on. I'm like, dope, DJ, love that shit. Elements, all about the elements. And then started seeing like videos. I'm like, oh, this guy produced that shit. And then I'm like, recently, like, producing shit. I mean, I'm saying just seeing more things, and then you know, this project with Zach. So you're like a Swiss Army knife, man. So I really appreciate you, like you and your dedication to the craft. I can tell you put in a lot of work, man. Like everything that I've heard you touch is quality stuff. Whether I'm like, rah, this is the best shit ever. It's like solid. It's always solid. So I just wanted to share that first.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that, man. I do put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the music I create and stuff. And, you know, the artists that I work with luckily do the same. So, like, the energy is usually back and forth between me and the artist. So I think that's plays a big factor on how the song comes out. And, you know, projects like that come out. Like, Zach put a lot of effort into writing. He picked the beats. He was very picky about it. And, you know, yeah, it just came out super dope, man. And he's from Utica, too, which is, you know, kind of connects us back to our hometown roots. So, you know, that makes it even more special for me, you know?
Yeah, no, that's dope. So I want to get into that because I've traveled a lot. I've lived a lot of different places. And so I like finding out about spots that I don't know about, you know what I mean? And like when there's certain, you know, like there's certain towns and places that people never heard of, but you go there and it's like, oh, there's energy here. There's some shit, you know? So like, I'm not too familiar with that part of New York. You know what I mean? I'm you know, like I know it's cold, but so I want to go back. You know, let's go back a little bit as far as like, first of all, what's the vibe like in Utica? Just as far as like just from a hip hop, or just at least from where you come from, and first before that foremost, like what's your I guess what's the era I guess of. So we can put in perspective that you come from of hip hop.
I'm from like the early 90s, maybe like 92, 93. You know, when I was born in 81, so I'm 41 years old now, or about to be 42 or whatever. And, you know, I started off listening to like, you know, 80s rock, you know what I mean? Bon Jovi, Motley Crue, you know, Rat, Poison, White Snake, and shit like that. You know what I mean? And then kind of got crossed over, like maybe towards the end, late '80s with the whole Aerosmith, Run DMC collaboration.
Right.
Like, oh shit, what's this going on? Like, oh, what's that dude doing? Jam Master is scratching it. Like, what is he doing? Like, that kind of intrigued me to kind of dig more deeper into like rap and stuff like that back then. And you know, I stoned my grandparents raised me, so like I stoned my grandfather to take me to the record store. And I bought like Two Live Crew, Band of the USA, and like above the rim, like this random group I heard of. I just saw it in the hip hop section. I was like, oh, above, not above the rim, above the law, excuse me, above the law from Houston, like some some random group. Like I never even heard of them, but I just had my grandfather pick me those. Anyway, I love the Two Live Crew because they had the asses on the cover. You know, it was a band in the USA. I think was that album. But yo, that album like played a big influence on me as well. And then like I got into the Beastie Boys and like the Run DMC, Raising Hell. I went and got those on cassettes and just started digging deeper back then. But it was like a weird transition from like that rock, like late 80s rock to like hip hop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, it's funny that you mentioned Two Live Crew because I was building with somebody else on the show. I don't remember who it was, and they also like accidentally found Two Live Crew as their first rap shit ever. like because I was out there.
I think it was a mixture of seeing the asses on the cover and then like Two Live Crew, like, oh shit, this shit must be live, like some live hip hop. Let's see what it's about. And then I get it home, it's like Miami bass and like, it's still dope though. I still like I fuck with Two Live Crew, like the Nursery Rhyme song. That shit was my joint back then, Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall or some shit. I forgot.
Yeah. Big up to everybody joining in. We got Tone Spliff, Utica, cold as Utica. It's cold. I know that. We're gonna talk about. We'll get into that a little bit more. So, like, all right. So you said your grandparents raised you and stuff. So, what was it like when you were getting into like when did you start getting heavily into, I guess, the musical aspect of everything?
Probably like in the mid 90s. I was watching a lot of Yo MTV Raps and seeing the DJ, in the videos and DMC battles, you know what I mean? Like, Rock Raider and Executioner,
right.
Invisible Scratch Pickles, seeing those VHS tapes, you know what I mean? Kind of just sparked my interest, and I fell in love with it, man. One of my best friends, DJ Joe Dro, had a set of turntables, so I was always going over, stoning him, always asking, yo, can I come over? I want to scratch, I want to blend. You know what I mean? I want to do what they're doing on these VHS tapes. I just basically started stoning him to where, I bugged my grandfather to get me a set of techniques, and he hated it. He was super old, born in 1921, and he doesn't like rap music and stuff. So he was like kind of discouraging the whole thing. But in me, I'm a rebel, total different generation, So, I went against the grain. I just fell, I basically started doing however I could scratch. I broke off, those boom boxes. I broke off the fucking lid and stuck a screwdriver into the cassette and started fucking turning the screwdriver and like scratching it and shit as it was going around. Like I wanted to DJ that bad. Anyway, my grandfather ended up buying the turntables, and then, it was just, to the moon from there. You know what I mean? I just, fell in love, started collecting records. I got all my records are back home. Actually, I'm from Utica, but I've been in LA now for 10 years. So I'm out here in the valley in the 818, but yeah, all my vinyl's back home, man. I miss it. Now you got me missing my vinyl.
Yeah, son. I mean, that's so. How were you? Like, first of all, big up to your grandfather because look, man, that's some real shit though. Because
I was persistent, yeah.
And he still didn't have to do it. Like he didn't have he could have been like, nah, fuck that. Like I'm not putting my money into that shit. Like he wasn't into it, but even though you were persistent, but he was like, all right, like at least still deep down inside, he was like,
he's very passionate about it. Like he used to have one of those big ass units, like back in the 70s. They had those big like wooden units, and like one half of the side would flip open, and it's got the turntable with the little 8-track player in there. So even as a kid, I was lifting that open when he was like doing the dishes after dinner. I'd go there, lift it open, and just start scratching like Frank Sinatra records and like Dean Martin records until I eventually got my first record ever was Mobb Deep Shook One. So that's like kind of when I started. So I think it was like 95, 96, when I first started collecting vinyl. I had the turntables back then and just, DJing parties and stuff for like friends and local clubs,
Right. So what's the vibe like there, man? I mean, like I know the New York City area. I know some parts of Albany. I know a little bit about Syracuse, Buffalo, and Rochester, but I don't know much about Utica. Like, so what was the energy like, as a teen coming up? I mean, clearly you must have been around some real shit. I mean, to have like, be making dope shit now, like so how what was the influences, I guess, like locally and stuff for you?
Well, there was a few local DJs that, would play a lot of records. They would travel down to New York City and get the promo records and bring them up. And they had a college show. Shout out to DJ Buck and DJ 808. Those guys used to be on a local college had. And Utica College is a branch of Syracuse. So Utica is like Syracuse's younger brother, you know what I mean? So we're only about 40 minutes away from Q. So if you've been to Q, kind of similar, just a little bit smaller. There's not too much going on there, you know what I mean? There is a music scene, you know, a local hip hop scene. There's some dope artists out of there that are coming out of there. Some dope producers like King Benny. He worked with Prodigy before he passed. Still working with Twin and Grimy Records and all them. And then you got Styles, the Shadow Figure. He's another dope producer who works with like Hands On and like Method Man and all them. So you got a couple artists too, MCs. You know, Zagnif obviously is dope, and you know, there's a lot of MCs. I'm not going to start naming them all because then they'll hate me if I forget their name. You know what I mean? But it's such a small city.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's like 60,000 people. So
65, yeah.
Everybody knows everybody, and if you don't know someone, you're guaranteed to know someone that knows them. You know what I mean? So, you know, you can't really do shit there without someone finding out about it. You know what I mean? It's like one of those cities. You know what I mean?
Yep.
A lot of people doing drugs because there ain't shit else to do. Not saying like in a major city people aren't doing drugs in like a major city, but people are really doing drugs in like a smaller city. There ain't shit else to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I'm lucky I didn't fall victim to none of that. You know what I mean? I did my weed and stuff like that. Maybe popped a couple pills in my teenage years, and you know, took some shrooms every now and then. You know, and I'm not opposed to that stuff, but like, you know, the harder stuff I kind of stood away from. You know, and I have to thank hip hop probably for that. You know, it kind of kept me distracted while a lot of my friends were doing like the harder stuff. You know what I mean? I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna go do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because the smaller towns, man, people, you know, they have some fucked up problems because you're just like stuck and like the whole shit, like especially jobs. Some of those small towns, man, are really fucked up. Like, yeah. So with that drug shit, man.
Yeah, there's a big drug problem. But I mean, on the lighter side, you got to look at this. There's great Italian food up there. The rent is fucking super cheap. You know what I mean? Like in New York City, you're paying like $2,000 for maybe a studio if you're lucky. Out, you know, $2,000 will get you a fucking probably a huge house. You know, 2-level apartment with four bedrooms. You know what I mean? Some crazy luxurious shit. So by all means, like the cost of living much cheaper. Really great Italian food up there. You know what I mean? You know, New York City has great food too. Don't get me wrong, but there's some really good spots up there. You know, same with Syracuse. Syracuse has got some good foods. You know, Dinosaurs Barbecue is a world famous barbecue spot out in Syracuse. So, you know, we used to go out to Syracuse often. Dope mall out there too, a huge mall. I forgot the name of it, like Mall of the USA or some shit, or Cross Gates or something. I forgot the name.
Yeah, that's dope though. Like, because clearly, you know, like, I mean, you're from there, so it's dope to just hear like that's you know how you came up, and you know, as far as like you were into the local shit. Like, what's your first major like hip hop memory, or is there something that gets like grabs you, or like, because you said, you know, you were listening to, and I had friends, I was in like a, you know, suburban elementary school, and the kids I was going to school with, the white kids or whatever, they were, you know, I was hearing the Def Leppard, the pour some sugar on me, all that shit, fucking Poison. That was like 80. That was what was, you know, but what was there something that was like, damn, this is it? Like, even like, you know, even after you were dabbling a little bit, like, was it like, yo, this is where I'm going?
You know, it was probably heavily influenced with like Yo MTV Raps. I would say just watching music videos, probably, you know, mixtapes. You know, a lot of mixtapes. A lot of my older friends, like when I was 11 years old, I was starting drinking already, taking shots of whiskey. You know, and I was smoking cigarettes in the 6th grade. So I kind of like, you know, started at a very young age. So like when I was doing all that, you know, I hung around some older cats who were like maybe 16, 18 years old, and they were getting mixtapes, but I was cruising around with them. They had their driver's license, were, you know, baking out in the car in the mid-90s, and they were playing maybe like a new DJ Clue tape or some shit. You know what I mean? Just not necessarily even Clue, but maybe like SNS or Ron G or somebody, you know what I mean? Or Silver Surfer used to do some cut.
Early Clue, though, let's not front. I mean, early Clue, because, I mean, later Clue was more commercial shit, but early Clue, like, was... You know what I'm saying? Oh
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Clue tapes were the shit back then, absolutely. So it was like Dirty Harry and DJ Juice and all them, you know.
Yeah, you said SNS, of course, and we were getting them up in Connecticut. So word, yeah, absolutely. So you was a young buck, right? You were like a Cheyenne rolling around with fucking like with Yeah, the older gods.
Yeah, the older crowd, you know what I mean? And they kind of push the cigarettes and the booze and the weed on me, you know what I mean? So it's all right, though, you know what I mean? I started at a young age. I feel like I've built my lungs and my body up to now I'm kind of like resistant, you know, hopefully with any bad shit that comes along, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, it is what it is. Our influences are what they are. You know what I mean? You can't, whoever's around you, you know, they, you're gonna pick that up. Yo, so I wanted to get into to some aspects of the DJ shit. For us, carrying the culture, like it's all about the all four elements, and we try to push that a lot. We have element of the week, and so it's very important to talk about that. You being a DJ, and that was a couple of weeks ago. That was the element of the week, but that's the foundation of hip hop culture. There's no b-boys, there's no MCs, and graffiti stood alone before that shit anyway. So it's kind of like an asterisk. But the other two, it wouldn't exist. So so I really want to get into that. So for you, like, what is like the most important, some of the most important aspects of being a quality DJ? Because like the MC game, B-boy, shit's been watered down. It's all the elements are watered down in their own way. So what are some of the most important aspects of being a DJ?
You know, having your own technique, your own style, your song selection probably plays a big factor. You know, there's DJs out there that'll just, you know, download a playlist or something and hit play and then just, you know, sit there and, you know, fucking twirl a knob and be like,
Word?
you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, what are they even doing? You know what I mean? Like, like, I'm more obviously of a turntablist like type of DJ as well. But I also am, you know, I've done my share of mixtapes back in high school. You know, I'd make the mixtapes and do the blends and stuff. So I'm kind of like a well-rounded, I guess, DJ. I guess I would call myself, because I could also do some beat juggling, some crabbing, or some stabs. You know what I mean?
You rock parties and stuff too?
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing backyard parties, you know, in my late teenage years. I DJ'd for 10 years at a club in Utica called the Electric Company. You know, they would get live bands and stuff like that, but on the weekends, after the band, I would close down for a couple hours, you know what I mean? My boy opened up a club, and I was the resident DJ there for, I want to say, 5-6 years. So, yeah, I've held down my share of clubbing and stuff like that. And then I did do a tour once with Copyright and Vast Air back in like 2009, I think it was. And, you know, I've even hit the road once, you know, with those two dope MCs. So that's one thing I kind of am missing, is I do want to hit the road a little bit more with like one of these MCs, you know?
Yeah, yo, no, that's dope. So you're like a complete DJ. Because some DJ, I mean, I've seen some DJs. I mean, I don't think like I feel like if you can rock a party, I mean, I feel like that's the bare minimum. You know, your blends are on point and stuff like that, and transition into songs and stuff. I mean, as far as that goes, because I know I've seen some cats that, correct me if I'm wrong, like can just do like the crazy tricks and stuff, but like can't rock a party at all. Like, and I think to me that's, I mean, for me, I guess I'm not a DJ, so I don't know, but like for me, that's a foundation. Like, I feel like a DJ should at least be able to hold down a crowd.
Yeah,
Yes
you know,
or no?
yeah, you know, if you're studying like a martial art or something like, you know, Kung Fu or whatever, you know, you want to learn, you know, this style, and then you also may want to use a bow or something, or some nunchucks, you know what I mean? Or throw in some size. You know what I mean? So I look at DJing like you could be like a mixtape DJ where you don't really do too much cutting. You know, you could probably blend a little bit here and there. Then you got like turntablists who are like, you know, beat juggling and taking a beat or a break and making it into their own beat or break and slowing it down and chopping it and hitting the stop and start and stuff and all that stuff. You know, so you got those type of DJs. Then you got also DJs who can rock a crowd and stand up there and be like, you know, yo, Connecticut, what's up? Make some motherfucking noise. Are you ready? You know what I mean? Some DJs can't do that. They can't hop on the mic. They'll just say like, nah, no mic. I'll just play the beat. You know what I mean? They could do some beat drops, you know, for the artist on stage, you know, but they're not really rocking. They're not doing the artist ad libs. You know, they're not studying the artist ad libs. Like, you know, to point out an example, Premier is a well-rounded DJ like that, because he was doing Guru's ad, you know, backing them up as an artist, whereas some DJs might not do that. You know, so there's a lot of different, like I said, different components of DJing, you know.
Yeah. So, like, so for you, like, what's the gold standard of like, or who is the gold standard in DJing?
There's no goal. I mean, it's really difficult to say. There's just, I have favorite DJs, you know what I mean? Like DJ Revolution is one of my favorite. Babu, obviously, and the whole Beat Junkies, I don't know if there's really a standard, I guess. I always like growing up and like seeing these DJs, I always pictured Qbert, I guess, as being like the golden standard of being a DJ. So like Qbert, I guess I would say would be my.
So over the years, I mean, I think we're somewhat close, and we're pretty close in age. I'm only like 5 years older than you. So you've probably seen the DJ get a little minimized in hip hop, like both on wax as well as at shows, where promoters feel like basically anybody can get up there and turn some knobs. So how and why do you think that's happened over the years?
Man, I don't know. I want to say budget cuts, but I don't know if that's even. I don't even know if that's a thing. Budget cuts.
Maybe technology. I mean,
maybe
like,
yeah. It could be.
Thinking, like technology / budget cuts. Because I'm just tossing it out there. I don't know. Like, if you have the.
It's an MC. Like, you got to have someone behind the tables or at the soundboard, at least queuing up your next song. You know what I mean? But then again, I've seen a rapper up on stage with a USB drive that just hands it to someone, they had their own laptop. They connected their own laptop and like literally did the song, stopped, went over to the laptop, said, all right, we're doing this song next. Clicked the song and play on it, went back to the stage and rocked it. I want to say it's my brother, R.A. the Rugged Man, that was doing that, which is hilarious because I was like, man, he needs a DJ. Like, he could call me, you know what I mean? Like, I would go on tour with him, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, they're cutting out the DJ, man. The DJ has to be there. When I went on tour, man, everyone showed me love in New York. Like, Immortal Technique came right up. He did like a freestyle, and then he turned around and he said, in respect to the motherfucking DJ, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. Turned around, dapped me up. I'm like, yo, is that Immortal Technique that I just did that? Like, I was shell shocked, you know what I mean? Because I was like, first of all, that's Immortal Technique. Second of all, it's my first tour, you know what I mean?
No, that's dope. Big up. We got legendary DJ Mark Love. Original DJ for
Mark Love, what up, brother?
Side.
Yeah, I sent him my music. He was just rocking something on his show as well the other day.
Yeah, so big up to him. Yeah, because I've just looked at that over the years, and I kind of say there's usually a reason, and maybe it's the technology, right? So because I've seen shows where similar things happen, like you just described, but I've also seen shows where they've had like the sound person also double as like the DJ
to play the set, like bring in DJ, like they're, you know what I mean? That's how it all started. The DJ is the backbone. The DJ has to be behind there hyping up the crowd. You know what I mean? Like, any artist that's touring right now without a DJ, like, hit me up. Like, let's go on a tour.
and the other thing is, but like also it's interesting that's why one thing that stood out, like I said earlier, was that I was seeing cuts by Tone Spliff. And I'm an older head, so I'm like, yo, I need to hear this. And wow, because you don't hear it that much in rap music these days. We know that. And
so I know you just, being that you just said that, I was like, that's kind of where I was going with doing cuts like that on so many cats, like projects like Apathy. I've been doing cuts for Apathy for a while. Stu Bang is another dope producer out there. I think he's from Connecticut as well. Castle Money Beats, another dope producer. Like, I do cuts on his stuff. Brutal Caesar. Like, I'd be doing cuts on these other cats' beats, and at the same time, I'm like, man, I'm wasting all these phrases for my own production. Like, I got to save some of these phrases because I put cuts on all my shit too. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, yeah, I want there to be that element in hip hop. Like, yeah, like you said, definitely, like, the DJ over the years has become lesser and lesser. But I kind of see it like coming back a little bit more now with, like, there's a lot of dope DJs out there too, like DJ TMB, DJ Grasshopper is another one, Fred Ones, C Reality. There's a lot of like dope DJs doing cuts. I forgot, there's so many I can't even really name them, but I think we're making a nice comeback. The Beat Junkies, Repmatic and D Styles, they've been putting out some really dope projects as well. So
no, it's good to see that. I mean, a couple of years ago when Elder Sensei and Sadat X put out their XL album, he was like, yo, because we got mad cut scratches and shit on here, like, it's for the heads, like, this shit's for the heads, like, but it was it was unfortunate that he even had to like say that, you know, that was even the case. But no, I do agree. I mean, I think more people are realizing, you know, that that's an important, it's a dope aspect to having the music. I mean, I don't know. I think it's dope. So that's, but it was dope how you did that, because yeah, you were like all those producers you just named, like we fuck with them. So like it was like, oh, Cuts by Tone. I mean, so I was, the name was sticking out and stuff like that. So talk about the producing a little bit. Like when did you get into that, and like was that, because I wasn't seeing, again, I don't know all your music or anything like that, but I'm only seeing that more recently.
Got you. Yeah. So like, you know, I started with the DJing in like the mid '90s, like around the early 2000s. I started with the production. I was also rapping at the time, so I used to rhyme back then as well.
Yeah.
I only rapped maybe for a few years. People said I was all right or whatever, but I'm like, I don't really like, you know, back then I was in my early 20s. You know, I was going to clubs. I was, you know, rapping about getting bitches. I wasn't getting any bitches. I'm like, this is all just fake. Like, I'm just basically rapping because I think it's cool. You know what I mean? I'm like, let me fall back. So I fell all the way back. And also, like, I had another friend of mine who was in our crew who passed away in a car accident. And, you know, I kind of just, you know, all that was just like, you know what, I'm just going to stop rhyming altogether. I started focusing more on the production around that point, probably. You know, I was digging, you know, collecting vinyls. This is before, you know, the internet and, you know, online digging, which I'm not knocking. You know, I'll do some online digging too. But, you know, I come from, you know, actually having to go to a record store and going through oldies and picking them and, you know, looking at a cover and taking it home and, you know, praying to God there's a dope sample on it. You know what I mean? I guess the production started, you know, early 2000s, I guess, yeah, with the MPC.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So and you do the video stuff.
I do, yeah. I guess I got a creative eye as well. I went to a Herkimer Community College for radio and TV, so I kind of pursued it a little bit, but I dropped out. But I've always been interested, you know, taking photography, pictures, you know, where I always had the camera going around, and you know, I just, you know, being a huge, you know, I love movies, films, television, and you know, just the cinematography and seeing how cameras move and capturing, you know, certain things, and then adding effects after, like all that kind of interested me too. Yeah, where I copped some equipment and did a couple music videos, actually a lot of music videos, and you know, I started filming weddings too. Like I love capturing, you know, like straight up, like, you know, happy moments too. You know, it doesn't have to be all hip hop music videos. So like I was doing weddings and shit like that too, which was really dope because that actually paid a lot more. And shout out to Rasco of Cali Agency. He does wedding videos as well, if you don't know. But he's really good at it too.
Yeah, Rascal's film Swan Works or some shit like that is his page. Yeah, no, and I was like, wait, okay, like, you know what I mean? Like I had to like, but yeah, he does a great job at it. I mean,
yeah, like he's got the drone shots going and everything. Like I got the drone too, so like he knows what he's doing though, which is really dope. Because like I know him obviously being, you know, Cali Agents with Planet Asia and Rasco. Then coming to find out he's doing wedding videos, I'm like, damn, all right. So he's got that creative eye as well. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, I think, you know, like to me, if you're a creative, you're a creative, and I feel like a lot of times you can kind of cross different things. Like if it's whether it's me, like I can't, I've played instruments and I don't rap. I rapped a little bit, and like you, like for me, my heart wasn't in it, and I felt like I love this too much to not like go full throttle with this shit. The b-boying came easier for me, so that's what I kind of stuck with early. But
yeah, I can't do anything. I'll break a leg if I try to do something. I got,
you know,
no funky bone in my body.
But it's like you could take a dancer, right? You could take a b-boy and put him in the studio with a producer, and the producer could be like, "Oh, what do you think about that?" And the dancer could give good feedback based on his or her ear. You know what I mean? Like, or vice versa. Like, you could take the producer out and see the dancer rock, or, you know, like all that. So you can kind of go across, you know, with the art and stuff. The same. So I think if you're creative, you're just creative, and so like. I'm just noticing, like, you know, I've done different projects and stuff like that too. It just kind of, you know, just goes all over the place. What do you like the best?
Between what, DJing and making beats?
DJing, making beats, and the video.
In the video, I'll probably say DJing first and producing second, and then doing like video work last, probably.
Yeah. And, like, what's the end game for you, man? As far as like all of this, I mean, some I've talked to different artists, and they're like, "Yo, I just do this just for fun. If people fuck with it, they fuck with it. I'm just always gonna do my music. I don't really give a shit. I got a great job. Like, I'm good. Like, you know, I've talked to other artists, and they're like, yeah, like I'm gonna keep pushing because I want to feed my family off of this because I want to do this to feed, you know. So, like, what's the end game for you?
Well, like I've always had a job. You know, I still have a job. You know, doing music and stuff. So I've always had the traditional 9 to 5. You know, the end game is just to keep the sound, I guess, going because you know, at least you know, opposed from the mainstream. I mean, there's a lot of dope people out there, artists, MCs, you know, MCs, DJs, and stuff like that. That you know still carry the vibe from that time frame, or you know, even switch it up a little bit, and that's cool or whatever that they want to do. But you know, I guess just keep that traditional sound alive, the boom bap. You know what I mean? The stuff I grew up listening to and loving. You know, but you know, I dabble a little bit sometimes out of my elements with like maybe a club banger or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not opposed to that. You know, 2000s vibe. You know, maybe like some Dipset or some shit. You know what I mean? Like those types of vibes. You know, so I do. You know, I want to make a something with an R&B singer too. You know, because like R&B is dope. You know, I love that genre just as much as I love hip hop. You know what I mean? So I got a singer that I've been working with. She's actually on the Zagnif project on the last song, Curse of Slumber, the one Lavic, and she's dope. She kind of reminds me. She's got like an Amy Winehouse kind of vibe. So me and her might start cooking a couple songs and dropping a few singles. So
Okay, dope. That's dope. No, that's dope. So yeah, and I appreciated hearing what you said though about like just keeping the traditional sound alive, at least for quote unquote, you know, for those who want to hear it. I mean, like not everybody wants that, and that's cool. But like there are a lot of us who want to hear drums in our music, and we want to hear cuts and scratches, and we want to hear like, you know, like just straight up hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because to me, I think it's kind of simple, and I think sometimes we make it more complicated. Like, dope beat, dope hook, some cuts, some scratches, dope MC,
exactly.
some drums,
Like
and you kind of got yourself a pretty good joint. Like usually, you know what I mean? Like it's not hard. Like it's it's not hard. So.
I think a lot of the problem though is a lot of people are a lot more easily impressed. You know what I mean? I think a lot of the listeners are easily impressed is what I like to say. So I think a lot of the listeners have to start, you know, checking themselves on what they are calling dope and what they're calling classic just because someone they heard about made it. You know what I mean? Like you got those people, you know what I mean? You just got to have a little bit more standard, I guess, you know?
Facts. You know, that's a major point, and I've pounded the pavement for that on that a lot because the standards for whatever reason got watered down, and I've always said you can't have flexible standards because then they wouldn't be standards. Standards don't change, right? Like that's why they're called standards. Like that's the whole essence of it being a standard in the first place because it doesn't move. It's not like some whimsical thing. Oh, now this is dope. There's a lot, and I've said this. There's a lot of artists that are like considered super hot fire right now. I'm not going to get into it, but like that if you put them in the 90s, they'd be average at best. But like, but we've accepted like, oh, they don't mumble, and there's some real street cats, so we fuck with this. But like, you know, so that's a very, very important point you made, man. Like, huge.
Yeah, that's like whenever anyone says, you know, questions, you know, the current state of hip hop, I just say, man, people's standards are too, or, you know, they're expecting too little or too much or whatever, you know. But yeah, man, you know, just I like to keep, like I said, that sound, you know what I mean. So when you see the name, like whenever I seen DJ Premier on a record produced it, I know it's gonna be dope, you know what I mean. So I want when someone sees Tone Spliff produce it, I want them to go into it immediately thinking drum cuts, dopeness, you know what I mean? And it's not necessarily going to sound like Premier, you know what I mean? I try not to sound like him as much as I can, but it's tough when he's like obviously a huge influence on me, but you know, chopping wise and shit. But you know, I got vibes, you know, that fit, you know, every style of MC, I guess, you know.
Yo, that's a very important point, and I'm gonna say this, man, and I don't blow smoke. That's what your name does for me. After seeing it, so look, pat yourself on the back for like good marketing, but also having quality product. Because like if I saw your name and it was always trash, I'd be like, oh, this dude's whack. You know what I'm saying? So every time I saw your name and heard you on some shit, like I was like, it's from the cutting. I was like, okay, this is dope. He's on his dope track. Boom. And then when I heard you were producing, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go fuck with this because I've already built some like, okay, I trust him with the fucking he's on some cut and scratch and shit. And then there we go. So like it worked, man. Because when I see the name Tone Spliff, I'm like, all right, I'm in for something. I'm in for something solid.
You're expecting something dope, something well mixed and mastered, and something head nodding with drums and cuts and some dope lyricism. You know what I mean? Like in that specific order. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's that's important. So I mean that's a good job for you, man.
Thank you.
State of the game for you. What's your state of the union address? I guess for like, you know, you being in this shit right now, like with fuckery going over here, real shit going over here. You know, old dudes hating on young dudes hating on old dudes. Like, what's your whole as far as rap goes?
It's exhausting, man. That's all it is. It's exhausting. It's discouraging. It's childish. It's, you know, very high schoolish. You know what I mean? Like everyone's just, it's cool. Like everyone has an opinion. You know, I have an opinion. I fucking hate fucking trap. I hate fucking drill or whatever the fuck people are evolving hip hop or rap. I'm not even gonna call it hip hop. They're evolving rap into, you know, like those. I mean, it's expected to evolve though. So, and the younger youth is gonna like it. So, like, I don't want to sound like a hater or bitter. Like, I sound like my grandfather. He used to say that rap shit is trash. That rap stuff is crap or whatever. Rap is crap. I'm like, no, it's not. You're from, you know, you're obviously from a different era. So, like, I'm kind of looking at it like now I'm my grandfather looking at, you know, the 16-year-old kid on the street who, you know, has fucking his purple hair, whatever the fuck. I'm like, and he's fucking nodding to like Tekashi 6ix9ine or some shit. I'm like, man, what the fuck are you doing? You know, like this isn't music. You know what I mean? And then I look back, like my grandfather said that same shit to me. Like this isn't music. You know what I mean? So, and it come to find out it was music. So maybe this shit is music. Like I don't know. Like I don't know any about that. Like I said, it's exhausting, man. Like I just start thinking about it. I get worked up. I like to think about the artists out there that are doing dope shit, like all those producers I named earlier. You know what I mean? The young MCs that are actually dope, like Ill Conscious and, you know, Daniel Son's dope, and, you know, my homie out here, Local Black, is dope. You know what I mean? But he like, you know, he steers away from that boom bap hip hop sound though. And he can, you know, rock on some, like maybe some trap beat, but it's lyrical. See, there's lyrical MCs that can fucking kill a trap beat, you know what I mean? But like, who's really doing that? Like who? Like Joyner Lucas? Like I guess he kind of does that a little bit. Like I'm not a big fan of his, but I heard a few of his songs. He has a few of those, you know what I mean? Like he's probably a more mainstream lyrical rapper that doesn't rap on traditional, like that traditional hip hop vibe, right? But he can. I bet you he would fucking sound amazing on it, you know what I mean?
The thing is, in my opinion, based on what you said, and people have said, okay, like, yeah, it's a different generation. But the difference is our generation, as far as we took our music from the older generation. We sampled all of their shit. So we had respect for the older shit. We just flipped it and made it our shit, and they weren't fucking with us. But we had
Hated it.
James Brown. We sampled so much, all of that, all of the older stuff. So the big difference is, you know, as somebody said, the trap shit isn't music, and the values that come with that shit, all the lean and the fucking crazy wild shit, it's not just the music. I could give a fuck about the music.
That's a whole subject. Yeah, the Cardi B's and the influences that the Nicki Minaj's are giving the young girls, and
it's the crazy wild shit that's like,
Yeah, that's a whole nother, that's an even worse subject to think about. Like, setting the music aside, like, yes, that's also having a major effect on the youth, on the super youth, like the toddlers and the 5-year-old kids seeing this growing up. Imagine.
Twerking and shit. Like there's like 5-year-olds twerking online and shit.
Yeah, and then you got to look at the bad. There's probably like some bad parents that aren't, schooling the kids not to watch this. You know what I mean? They're not paying attention. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I like to think the world's gonna head towards like, you ever see the movie Idiocracy? You ever see that movie?
Mm-hmm.
It's a funny movie where the world just goes to shit and everyone's basically stupid as hell. This dude ends up there. It's crazy. If you're into movies, check it out. But I don't like it.
All right, nah, check it out. Idiocracy. No, I like.
It's funny. I forgot who the main dude is now, but he's funny. One of the, like, not Owen Wilson, but one of the Wilson brothers, if you know the Owen Wilson there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like, I mean, I feel like we're kind of, we're definitely seem like we're heading that direction, man, because of the values of, like, kind of going to shit. I mean, so that's where I think the biggest distinction is, man. It's just that, like, we respected the old shit enough to, like, steal it all musically and make it our shit. Like Ghosts, like they Nautilus, they took that whole shit. You know what I mean, for Daytona 500. So that's we respected enough to fucking jack it. Like there's just a level, but there's a disconnect there, and that's I think at some point there needs to be some sit downs and we need to talk some shit out. You know what I'm saying? Because there's definitely a disconnect. What's like what would you say the biggest success has been for you thus far? Like, or just biggest thing you're like, or it's just been the most, your best moment as far as, performing and stuff like that, or, doing this whole shit seriously?
Oh man, there's a few, but the best, man, probably just having your my idol DJ Premier like follow me and he knows who I am. You know what I mean? Like DJ Premier knows who I am. He plays my music. He posted a video clip. You know how Primo does like those. When he had his show going, he would post like a 5-minute clip or whatever. He cuts 2 songs and has a segment of where him and Panchi are talking. Like he scratched one of my songs like on his like page and shit. Like that was just so surreal. Like I still feel like I'm in some weird fucked up dream where this is still continuing, and I'm like either I died and like I'm in heaven right now, or like what? Like so this is like fun. That man, just Primo knowing me and like supporting me, playing my music, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And God knows what he says behind closed doors. Like someone says, yo, who's a dope new producer you're fucking with, Preem? Oh, Tone Spliff, he's got dope beats and cuts, you know what I mean. I think that's why Preem likes me too, because I got the dope beats and I DJ, you know what I mean. I had the cuts. He's a sucker for cuts, you know what I mean. But I guess that, man, just having the respect and knowledge that Primo knows who I am. It's like it's like fucking, I don't know, Michael Jordan acknowledging LeBron, or somebody, or, I want to get into sports because I'm not a big sports guy, but, something of that nature, you know what I mean? When your idol recognizes you, you're just kind of, just on a whole nother level, you know what I mean? I'm still on cloud 9 from him. He follows me on Instagram, like, that's insane. Like, I'm like, am I worthy? I'm like thinking like fucking Wayne's World. You're not worthy. You're not worthy.
Stupid.
When they're bowing down to Ozzy Osbourne, was it, or whatever? You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
I met Prima a few times. I didn't go. I didn't stoop down to that level where I bowed down to him or not. But I met him a few times too. So it's dope. It's good when you meet the person that you idolize and they're not an asshole as well. Like Primo is super. Super humble. Super cool guy too. So that's a plus, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's dope. So I mean. And that's what it's about. I mean, for people who are really serious about any craft, in my opinion, like it's about the recognition of the elders who like laid it down. It's like when the elders nod in approval, then so that's culture. So yeah, that's what it's about. Like a legend is fucking with you on some music shit, not for any reason other than anything else, just on some music shit. Yeah, like legend thinks your shit is dope enough to fuck with on the reg,
and he didn't take no payola, no nothing like that. Like he just got wind of my music, listened to it, liked enough to play it, and he still plays it. You know what I mean? So like I'm doing something right. You know what I mean? That kind of, that nod from Preem lets me know that, keep doing it. He said it himself, keep fucking banging or whatever. Keep putting out this shit, So he's dope, It's like, yeah, man, it's in my heart, man. Like, fuck, man, Primo said it, you know what I mean? Like, I can't get over that, man.
Yeah, that shit, no, that's dope. No, that's what it's all about. That's incentive enough to keep, just to keep going. Like, why stop?
Oh yeah, the fire inside turned into a fucking torch when he did that. You know what I mean?
I believe that shit. So so it's funny. It's Woo Wednesday, and I would assume that you're at least an average Woo fan. Just assuming. So my man had a question. I had the same question listed to ask you. I do usually try to ask a question on Woo Wednesday of our guests. So there's supposedly a Wu-Tang Migos collab that's happening.
Yeah, Raekwon, right? Raekwon's doing it.
Oh, Raekwon, yeah, just maybe Raekwon, maybe hopefully it's just one of them. Any thoughts on that? And I don't know. Again, I don't know your level of I'll just say for me, Wu-Tang influenced a few years of my life, like heavily. In my head. So
yeah, I grew up on 36 Chambers. I grew up on every single Wu-Tang album, man. To Cal, the Purple Tape,
all right.
Sparks.
All right. So you're ahead. So then, okay. So what are your thoughts?
I'm not
hearing that.
Migos is trash. First thought that comes to mind: Migos is trash. Second thought, what is it? Is it like a clothing collab or is it a musical collab?
Music.
It's music, so it's going to be like Raekwon or Migos featuring Raekwon or some shit like that. Like,
yeah, I think they got a name or something too. Like, I don't know.
My thoughts on it, if it's a music wise, Raekwon is going to hopefully come correct. Raekwon is one of the top 5 probably in my category. Like Raekwon is super dope. I don't know, man. I don't know what Migos is going to do. It's going to be weird, man. My thought is it's going to be weird. I'm going to listen to it because I DJ and, I fuck with all genres of music. I'll maybe I'll do some weird ass beat juggle to it and make it a little better. Or maybe I'll isolate Raekwon's verse and do a remix and do a Tone Spliff remix. We'll see how it goes. But I don't know. It's going to be trash probably. But Raekwon might be all right. It depends.
I mean, you're a little more optimistic than me. I mean,
yeah.
How do you go from Raekwon? Like, let's say they rhyme right back to back. How do you go from Raekwon to Migos or Migos to Raekwon? I mean, it's a tough sell. I mean,
I think it's gonna be like a remix. Maybe it'll be like a remix, or Raekwon will just start maybe and do his thing, and then he'll go fade away in the background like that Homer Simpson meme. You know what I mean? Like he'll kind of fade into the. He's probably just getting a bag. Maybe he might just be getting a bag with Migos right at this point in his career. I don't know. He should come beats, man. I got some dope beats. I think that he would sound good on.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta connect that because I don't know about this Migos thing. So I think that's I mean, to me, it's just a money grab for both of them, or in terms of, or just a publicity. Try to, Ray trying to get some relevance. That's to me. I think it's just business. But
you think it's gonna work though? Like Migos fan base, do they even know who Wu-Tang is? Do they know who Raekwon is? And then
I think they're more likely to fuck with Wu-Tang than I think they're more like younger fans are more likely to fuck with Wu-Tang than older fans are more likely to fuck with Migos.
I agree. I agree with that 100%.
I think the younger fans, Migos, whatever they say, they jump. Okay, we doing this with these OGs. Okay, fuck with them. So
yeah, and I agree. I agree with that 100%.
Real quick before we got a couple more questions. What's the thing? I can't remember what it was you were talking about on IG. It's happening on IG, and you're not like people are tagging you or in something. What are they doing?
They're boosting my posts.
Oh,
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, someone was boosting my post basically. So I post one of those new, scratching videos, juggling videos or whatever I was doing, and someone was boosting them. You can copy a link and send it to, one of those people. Hey, are you interested in growing your Instagram to 6 million followers? Or, do you want 5,000 views on this? I get those messages like all the time, and it's an immediate block on all of them. Like, no, fuck you, go die.
Right.
Anyway, so someone is basically boosting my shit. Like, you can go to someone's post, and you know how you can repost. You got to copy the link to the Instagram post and go to the repost app, and then it goes back. So you can copy that link essentially and probably send it to one of those boosting motherfuckers and be like, here, boost this. And they can probably run a boost where they send it to their fucking India fucking bot farm or whatever the fuck they call it nowadays, and they give them all these views. So essentially someone was doing that shit, and like I don't know who it was. I think it was some good intention shit because they want me to appear in the algorithms. I guess, if you have more views on a video, you're probably more likely to get more attention from, more attention, more traction than what I'm trying to say. But like they were doing it behind my back. Like, I still don't know who's doing it. So I made that post. I was like, yo, I think your intentions are good. I appreciate you if you think I need more views, but like, I don't want to do it this way. Like I was getting likes from dudes in like a turban riding a camel, and like I go and check their page and I go to their followers, and like no, they don't follow no hip hop, no nothing. It's just like same pages, all the same Indian looking dudes. Like nothing against the Indians, I mean they're doing their thing out there. They're getting all these views and shit. Like that's another thing that frustrates me with like artists doing that shit. Boosting their views and getting all these fake followers, and Spotify numbers are so easily fucking manipulated. And then like you see them, bragging about like I could tell the ones that are really doing it, and then the ones that really aren't doing it. You know what I mean? Like you ain't got no 2 million views on that song. Like stop it. You know what I mean? Like when you see someone 7,000, 10,000, 20 something, okay, and then they're relatively known. You know what I mean? Like you could kind of spot the fraudulent ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of like shiesty shit going on. I've seen that shit. That shit happened to me one time. Like one post got caught up over something, and like everybody was following. Like I got like all these followers. I was like, what? Everybody's from India. It was just some weird shit. Like
yeah, it's fucking weird, man. Like maybe the intentions were good and shit, but like nah, like let me do it how I want to do it. Which is some word of mouth shit. Like I don't care. I don't want 20,000 followers. I want one follower who knows and has listened to my music. You know what I mean? I don't want 20,000 people that never listened to me before, because what the hell are they going to do? You know what I mean? They're not going to do shit. They're going to make me look cool. It's like I'm not here to look cool. You know what I mean?
Right. No, absolutely. And it's some weird shit, man, because what that does for me, I've seen artists where I've gone to their page, I'm like, and I've seen who's following them. They got like 7 posts and like 40,000 followers, and I'm like, wait. And I see it's all like whatever, like.
You know how to spot them. And that's another way. You go and check the post. One post has 5,000 views and maybe 2 comments. Like, well, why you got 5,000 views? Where's all the comments? Like, there should be comments following these views. You know what I mean? When you go check their followers, it's all those pages with the fucking Indian cats riding on the fucking camel. Like, they're not real fans. They're just fake profiles. You know what I mean? It's all fake. It's all a facade.
No, it absolutely is. Yo, so what's new? What's the project out down? I'm trying to pull it up. It's the joint Zagnif Nori.
Yeah.
And
Zagnif Nori is the newest one. I dropped earlier in the year. I dropped one with Vic Monroe too. You're on my mailing list, so you get everything at least a week or 2 in advance and stuff like that. So. And I know your guidelines. I be following them. I got my guidelines too. You know what I mean? I think the only thing I don't follow with your guidelines is I don't change the subject line for you. I just, it just says the artist name, but I think you said.
Oh, we're good with that shit, yo. Like, I mean, listen, it's the quality of music. I mean, I can figure out a subject line. It's just don't send no fucking trash. Don't so you're good. Nah.
Yeah, but put out that project though too with Vic Monroe, and I've been doing a new single every 2 weeks. You've probably been getting a lot of emails with those singles I've been doing too as well. I think you did because you posted up a couple of them. I remember.
Yeah, you've been firing off missiles, man. I mean, all over the place. So yeah, you got it up. Stone Cold Killer, Tone Spliff, Zagnif Nori, Utica, New York, man. This is a dope joint. And then they got a couple feature with King Arthur. Where's he from, dude? Where's he from?
King Arthur, I think, is from Massachusetts. That's
Yeah.
Zag's homie. They're in a group called the Killers.
Okay, yeah. Yo, if you're not familiar, fuck with the kid Zach Neftori, yo. He's fucking nice, yo. That kid
Yeah.
is
He's
he's
from my hometown, super dope MC from my hometown. So, we connected a few times before this project. So, we're gonna connect. We're gonna connect more in the future as well. That's for sure.
so yeah. What else? What else you got? Anything bubble? So you're dropping a new joint every couple of weeks, you said, and then and you said the R&B joint. You said you got cooking.
I got that. I also got a project with Cool Taj the Great that we're finishing up. I got a project with Ben Plums. I think you know that we did a joint called Murder Scene back in November. Me and him are gonna do something. He's on Big Twins label, Grimy Records. I'm gonna do. I got a couple singles coming out. This Friday is with Comet from Screwball, so that's coming out Friday. I just
Okay.
Yeah,
we got that in the joint. Yeah.
Yep. Shabam Sadiq's gonna do a joint for the project for the new singles that I'm doing. My homie Local Black's gonna do one, and Cornbread from Cali Wild's gonna do a song. So those are three of the next singles that I got queued up coming up for the new single every 2 weeks. And now it's gonna be a new producer album at the end of the year. So all of the singles I've been doing every 2 weeks is gonna be an album called tentative titled. Right now it's called All in a Year's Work.
Dope. So yeah, keep the emails coming. I'm glad to be on the list. Keep them coming. You know what to do. So yeah, we fucks with you, man. Like I was like wanted to figure out. I mean, like I said, I was like, oh, who's this kid about? You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad we got the chance to build. So we're gonna get out of here because IG shuts me down. They don't fuck with me. I got like a minute and 30 seconds left.
Okay.
But I want to thank you, man, definitely for coming through and chopping it up. And I look forward to, like, you know what I'm saying, rocking, trying to support, like just keep sending them, you know what I mean? Like, we don't, everything for us ain't a home run, but like from anybody, but like, yo, we rocks with you, yo. You know what I mean? We do whatever we can to, like, you know what I'm saying, support, like dope shit. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I try to show the support back. So, anything I can do to help, let me know. If you ever work on a project, need a beat, need some cuts, just hit me up, man. I got you.
All right. I appreciate that. Salute Vic Monroe in here. That project is a dope project too. And what's the joint? Zag Neftori and Tone Spliff. What's it called? I'm so fucking high.
Killer.
Stone Cold Killer. Yeah.
Man.
This was episode 96, Carrying the Culture Show. This will be up on the YouTube. I'll tag you. Everybody be good. Salute, yo. All right. Thank you.
All right, brother. Thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
For sure.